Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome to the market close. Well, after yesterday, who was expecting a green day? Well, I was. Normally, normally when we have a pretty traumatic red day, and yesterday I'd call it kind of traumatic. I mean, it was a pretty big red drop. Almost, not always, but a lot of times after that, the market recorrects and you tend to go back into the green. It's almost hard not to, unless you're looking at something prolonged red. So yeah, today was a pretty good day. We got the green. We got this is a big earnings time too. So we got a lot of earnings coming out this week. So today, just before the market opened, we had Air Canada drop, and they weren't the best earnings, but actually, honestly, they weren't bad for what we were anticipating. So we got Air Canada drop today. We've got, I think Cameco is due to come out today. We got London Gold later in the week as well. So we got a lot of earnings. And there's earnings, of course, dropping on the south side of the border too. So lots of interesting stuff going on. All right. Let's, oh, well, where is my page? My page has disappeared, folks, but don't worry, I can get it back. I can get it back. Just give me a second here. Let's, I don't know. It must have, I don't know. It just fell off. It fell off. So just gonna share the screen, and yeah, we'll grab this one here. Perfect. Bang, boom. Let's bring it up. There we are. There we are. All right. That's Tesla. Nice green spike. I will let you guys know. The channel members were aware of it today, but I did buy some Tesla down here and then sold it up in here. So a good Tesla swing day if you were in on it this morning for sure. All right. Let's get up here to the TSX. And here we go. Well, we do have a green day, 1.13% right now to the green. But, well, yesterday, look at this. We did have quite the fall. So right now on November, you'll notice we're below the blue line. We're not normally below that blue line, but that blue line, as you can see, it starts right here. That's where we ended last month. So right now, November so far is a red month, but lots of time to recover, lots of time to recover. Month is early, still too early to call, although I believe I made a little prediction for the month. I'm anticipating a red month. Not a deep red month, but we'll certainly spend some time above that line as well. But I think at the end of the month, we're going to be a little bit below that red line, or the blue line, sorry. The blue line. Well, we could say that the line flipped red because it'll be a red month, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun. The TSX, let's jump on over here. I have not repositioned the line, so they are not above. They're not above that line. They're not above that line. Quite literally. Well, here, I'll show you how I do this here. So, last day of October here, right about here, Friday. Yep, Friday. So I go in here and I take a look here. Yeah, here was the last day. This little one right here. And they ended it right there. There we go. So that's how I do it. So there is the blue line for the S&P 500, and they're underneath it. So they're also on a red month, but kind of the similar situation. Yesterday was one of the reddest days we've seen since probably, well, I think we had a few days like that in late September, but yeah, definitely, definitely a pretty red day. Pretty red day for sure. The NASDAQ also up 1.02. And I've not moved our friend here yet for the NASDAQ. Ah, geez, now I got to do it. I got to do it. I set the precedent, right? I won't do it for, this will be the last one I do here. Let's just see here. Where are we at? Oh, it's right here. So right over here, we'll just drop this on in. There we are. So once again, we are below the blue line, having a red month for technology. And yeah, I mean, Meta, I've got you know, I've actually got a swing trade going on Meta currently, but they're not helping me yet. They're not helping me yet. And well, I'll show you. I'll show you. Let me just take a look here. Yeah, here it is. So they've started, but this is a nice, very long. I did actually do a swing on this little part here, on this down and that. So I did capture that. I got in, I think, round here-ish. So right now I'm looking to, I'm looking to, I want to see them get up. Well, we'll see. Anyway, that was Meta for us. All right, Dow Jones. Dow Jones is also up a little bit, up 0.59. And I'll add the blue line to them later. I'm not going to do that for all of them, guys, because, you know, hey, your time is precious. The Russell, all of those little guys, they're also up 1.63%. Well, 1.64 now. Gold up 1.31%. Silver up 2.09%. Copper, this is our latest one that we've added commodity. Copper is up 0.82%. Oil, though, not having the best day. WTI, West Texas Intermediate, it is down 0.93%. But Bitcoin and Ethereum both having a pretty strong day. All right. It is time to jump into the heat maps, and it switched it to the US on me again. This is not a problem. I just have to come down here to all Canadian companies and side thing, go away. There we go. So yeah, Canada, look at this. Not too shabby. A lot of green in there, for sure. Let's get rid of this little ad thing. As you can see, our non-energy minerals and our energy minerals. So energy and minerals doing really good today. You got Barrick Gold up 3.47. You got Suncor up 5.23. Not too bad, not too bad. Retail doing much better today. So Loblaws up 2.05. Alimentation Couche-Tard, they're up 1.80. Metro up 1.58. And that's definitely good. Definitely good. You know, I had I had a trade in that sector that I was able to get out of today because it finally recovered. I was happy about that. Actually, it's an interesting thing, guys. Kind of neat little side note on swing trading is that sometimes you can get into a trade and you set your target initially, like how much you want to make, and it goes south. Maybe you have that patience to wait it out. But sometimes you might have to take a loss, or in the case of today, I on my what was it? I think it was Metro. On my Metro swing trade, I took a small profit. We're like $10 or something like that. It was either 10 or 25. It was small. I took a small profit because I knew that there were some bigger fish out there to fry. And well, yeah, that was Tesla. And you guys just saw I rode Tesla up quite a bit. So if I had waited for my target on I think it was Metro, on Metro, then I was not going to I was simply not going to be able to hit my to hit my goal. I wouldn't have hit it. So sometimes it's not a bad idea to sort of shake things up. Sometimes it's okay to bail out. Even if I took, like, consider it this way. If I took, let's say I took a $25 loss, but then flipped that onto Tesla and then, made $1,000, that's not a bad thing. So, that's kind of an interesting part of the trading mindset. All right. Okay, let's jump to the US. Oh, this is, I'm missing a tab. That's why. All right, we'll just duplicate this tab. And now I'm going to turn it back to all US companies. Here we go. Bang, we're here. So yeah, and right here, you can see there's the Tesla up 3.96%. Meta up 1.77. Google's up 2.59. Broadcom is up. Eli Lilly is up. Cat's still doing fantastic, up another 4.12% today. And yeah, cryptocurrency. Oh boy, nice and green. Like, look at this. Bitcoin up 3.11, Ethereum up 8.36, XRP 9.80, Solana's up, Dogecoin is up, Cardano's up. There's a lot of crypto out there, guys, and this is that part of the show where I like to just pick. I like to pick on some altcoin I've never heard of, and the market is overall green, so we'll grab a red coin. This, eeny, meeny, no, we'll go this one. What a bag! We picked up bag. What a name. Yeah, I don't know what this is. But if you need a bag, don't get this one. Go buy a Sobeys bag. You'll be better off. This one is worth, oh boy, what is that? Like 5/1000th of a penny or something. It's not worth a lot. It's not worth a lot, and it is it's falling big time now. At one point back here, back in May, it was worth about 100th of a penny. So yeah, it's not doing good. Don't know what it does. Kind of don't care. I call these crap coins because a lot of times if you're trying to make money on them, it's like going in and playing a game of craps. The odds are not in your favor. You guys have heard that saying, the house always wins. With a coin like this, maybe nobody wins. I'm not sure. But you can make money in crypto. You can make money with altcoins. But you want to be very, very, very careful with them. Read the white paper. Make sure you know what it does. Make sure it makes sense to you to actually get involved in it. But if you do want to make money in crypto, stick to your Bitcoins. Your big coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and yes, even the Dogecoin is a much better choice. So, yeah. Anyway, that is our little shot at crypto for the day. I will put us back over here, and we're gonna come to you guys. Let's hit up here. We get the bell in about a little less than 3 minutes. Claude is in first. Hello. London Gold's earnings are due this Friday. Okay, coffee time now. Yes, London's Gold. Oh boy. And as you guys know, I love London Gold. They're doing really well in the 0 to 100K challenge. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites for sure. Paul is in the house with a hello. Scratch is in with a good afternoon all. Rory says afternoon, dropped 500 points when the budget dropped. Ah, boy, the budget. So, and that budget, guys, just to talk tiny bit about the budget, that'll of course get voted on probably around the 17th of November because it's going to be debated and everything. There's a whole process to it. So we're looking at, I believe the 17th of November is when we're going to see a vote on that. Jim is in the house with a hey. Yesterday was a dumpster fire. Depends on your perspective. If you are a buy the dipper, yesterday was probably a very good day for you. You're probably happy about yesterday. Lisa says, hello, everyone. Let's see. Roy says, I added money to my U.S. account today. We got Mary in the house with a good afternoon. And guys, with 1 minute and 15 seconds left to the bell, Mary's our official captain of the like button. And, well, guys, that means hit that button, turn it blue. I'm going to have some coffee while you guys are doing that. Oh, so good. Why is coffee so good? A funny little story. I was over in Blossom yesterday, and I was posting about there's a new ETF, and we're going to talk a little bit about that later. It's called SIXI. So this is a new ETF that's coming out from Evolve, and Mary left a comment on that. And as soon as I saw Mary, I was like, I should hit a like button. That was my first response. That was to me that was pretty funny. So about 30 seconds, guys. Leon's Money Flow says, hi, everyone. We got Brian in the house with a good afternoon, everyone. And Joe says, good afternoon for this wet day. Yeah, it's rainy here in Ottawa today, too. It was raining yesterday? No, I'm thinking Friday. I'm thinking Friday. But yeah, I think it did rain yesterday as well. Uh-oh, guys, it's time. And the market's closed. Oh boy. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, now I don't have to watch the clock. Brian says, who is Michael Burry and where can I talk to that guy? I'd like to know his strike prices and timelines for shorting Palantir and NVIDIA. Michael Burry. So he's that guy that made he made this one really good prediction. He basically predicted that things were going to hit the fan back in the financial crisis of 2008. Since then, everybody looks at him like he is a know-it-all, a soothsayer, a prophet of the markets. But I'll tell you, if you actually add up how many times, and he's made a lot of predictions since then, if you add up how many times he's right, it's not a big number compared to how many times he's wrong. So I will say this one thing about Michael Burry, about his ability. Is he a prophet? Or is it a case of a broken clock is right twice a day? You guys decide. I don't put a lot of credit in his predictions because honestly, nobody can predict the market. You know, I can tell you what I think the market's going to do. And yes, maybe it's based on what the market's done in the past. Maybe it's an educated guess. But guess what? What's the second part of that word? After educated, it's the word guess. And that's all it is. If anybody could truly predict the market, like with a level of accuracy that people like to give Michael Burry credit for, they'd be very, very rich because they'd be doing really well. Nobody can predict the market. Anyone who tells you they can, they're lying or they're delusional. They just can't do it. They can't do it. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, Brian says he is costing me a lot. I guess I should have read that next line too. So Brian is not a Michael Burry fan. Larry, sold my Berkshire 2X, bought DJT, UDJT, 2X, picked up more Meta. Yeah, Meta, like I said, we looked at Meta here a moment ago, and, when Meta recovers from this current little slide down, there's definitely some money to be made there for sure, if you're swinging it, of course. Or if you're a long-term investor, not a bad entry position right now for Meta, that's for sure. Let's see, Brian says, I was thinking about selling Palantir to ride Meta back up, but that's out for now. Okay, fair enough. Larry, put 20% of the portfolio into Kenvue, KVUE, 1610 average. They're being bought for $21.01 per share plus shares in the new company. Over 33% return. We should make $500K-ish off it by end of second quarter. This is beautiful. This sort of shows you sometimes, guys, when there's a takeover, a lot of times it's always good to read how the shares are being resolved. A lot of times the company will say, we will buy for every share, we will pay this amount. Well, if let's say a company's bought over and their shares are $15, let's say they're $15 a share, and this company says, yeah, on this date we'll give everybody $20 a share for these these shares. So at that point, this is kind of how I look at it. One, those shares are probably going to go up. They're going to get a lot closer to 20. So a lot of times, if the price is much higher than where the price is right now, I'm not going to sell. Obviously, I'm going to hold on to them. But once they go once they go above that price, if they go above that price, then I start looking at. I'll probably put in a stop loss, to be honest. I mean, you may have a bit of time, but a lot of times all of the initial hype will send it above where they're going to be bought out at. And that's an opportunity at that point to sell. Now, and let's go the other direction, if you're not holding those, and let's say that $15 stock is going to be bought out in 6 months at $20, That's not a bad thing to be buying, right? If you buy a stack at $15 a pop, you're going to get your $20 a pop in 6 months or whatever the time frame is. So that's always not a bad thing. But usually that price does start to go up pretty fast. So you usually don't have a huge window to get a really good deal. But sometimes you do. Sometimes you do. CC says missed opportunities yesterday after lunch. I thought it couldn't go lower. Today I thought it couldn't go higher. New rule. I can't predict it's not. Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Got MSTE at 875 today. Nice. And Larry says Elon announced he's officially going to put the Doge on the moon in a tweet yesterday. Yeah, well, he said he was going to put, I mean, if you remember, oh boy, back, I think this was still in the pandemic, he made that big announcement, I'm going to put a literal Doge on the literal moon, and that inflated the price of Doge. But yeah, I believe he'll do it. I believe he'll do it for sure. All right. Rock City Marv is in the house with a hello from Detroit. I just found this channel and subscribed quickly. Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rock City. Rory, coffee is best when it's cool out. Here it's -4 at the moment. I have no clue what the temperature is here right now. It's definitely above freezing. I think centigrade around 10 degrees, Celsius. But now, if you want the US of that, there's a rule, right? You basically double it and you add 32. So 10 doubled is 20, add 32, 52. So roughly in the 52 Fahrenheit area. It's not exact. It's not exact. There is a formula, but if you double it, add 32, it gets you fairly close, or at least in the ballpark. All right, Paul, 1 USD now is 1.411 CAD. Wow. Not a bad time if you want to move some money from USD into CAD. It's not a bad rate. Not a bad rate. Adding US before CAD goes to 60. Yikes. All right. There's the night bot. So yeah, guys, if you want a bonus Friday show, you guys know the drill. For either 4 supers, 4 gifted subs, or combination hereof, and that creates a whole new show. All right. Rory says, I can't afford VOO at the moment, so I'm going slumming. Oh, nice. Well, keep in mind, though, Rory, I don't know if you're using Wealthsimple, but you can always do fractional shares in Wealthsimple. All right, Brian, I never believed Michael was a prophet. I just know he is screwing up my stocks. I guess the same thing 100 times, and eventually you'll get it right once. Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of an interesting thing, too. People are kind of wired in this way that, you can look at something like, you may say 1,000 things, but once out of that 1,000 things, something is right, and then you kind of focus on that runtime you're right, and it's almost like, oh my God, it was almost like I was psychic. A lot of times coincidence really can come in there for sure. Cowboy is in the house with a greetings all. Sixy looks pretty interesting for sure. Yes, it does. So Sixy. So guys, this is a new ETF from Evolve, and it's kind of like Bank. If you take Bank, so the Bank ETF, and remove the life insurance components, just keep the Bank part, and from there, double the amount of times you get dividends, so twice a month dividends. So that's what Sixy is going to look like. Now, they're using leverage on it as well as covered calls, the same as with Bank. And their goal is to, they want to return 1.33% of the same return you'd get from the Solactive Bank Index. So, it could be a very good one. I do love Bank. Now, one of the things too that I really liked in there as well is it mentioned it. You might have, if you read the prospectus, you might get it or you might not realize what they're saying. But one of the things they mentioned with the covered calls is that the actual amount of coverage would highly depend on the market conditions. And that is something that I think has helped Evolve do really well. Because one of the things that they like to do is if the market's getting really bullish, they pull back the amount of covered calls that they're doing because they don't want to lose a lot of that upside potential. Whereas, when the market's going sideways or the market's going slightly down, they're going to use more covered calls just to keep that income up. So definitely an interesting thing for sure. All right. Hughie Mello says, apparently one person in YouTube posts something about ChatGPT saying that the next market collapse will be May 16th, 2025. Oh boy. Sure glad I was asleep that day. I guess I missed it, but yeah. There's somebody else, AI. I mean, AI can be incredibly useful, but I wouldn't put a lot of credence. I wouldn't put a lot of credence in predictions that AI makes. Not yet, at least not right now. Keep in mind, guys, we're kind of in the infancy of AI. AI, I mean, yeah, you look at it and you're like, oh my God, look at what this technology, what these large language models can do. Well, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. Like there's still, and even now, even like if you look the difference between ChatGPT 5 and ChatGPT 3, it's really big. So like they are getting better, and they're going to continue to get better. But at the same time, this is the thing. If I ask ChatGPT for anything, I always ask, like, let's say, for example, if I wanted to know what's driving the market today, and if I type that into ChatGPT, I will say, what is driving the market today, and please include your sources. Then ChatGPT can tell me, but then I can click on each source. So I can click on the Reuters news article to bring up an article on whatever, or or Associated Press. It'll give me all of that, so I can, I can get the overview from ChatGPT, but then I can click on the articles and go in and do a deeper dive. So yeah, and plus that way there, it's legit, and that you're not getting a hallucination. There have been, and not as many now as before, but there have been situations where ChatGPT has hallucinated things that does not exist. So definitely interesting. All right, Larry says, Kenvue is down right now because they make Tylenol. Oh, God. I feel bad for poor Tylenol because, of course, the Trump administration has said that Tylenol is responsible in pregnant women for creating autism. Not true, but that has certainly harmed Tylenol for sure. Yikes. Yeah, not great. All right, Larry says, I'm worried about the market and the buyout is almost risk-free and I can't think of something better short-term guaranteed. Oh, fair enough. All right, let's see here. Crypto has been good to me. I got started in 2020 just by overhearing a conversation. Now I think about how I first heard about Bitcoin in 2008. Yeah, it's fine. I'll tell you a funny thing here, Rock. I had an opportunity in the past. Somebody came to me before, the first time I ever heard of Bitcoin. And this is when Bitcoin was like, it wasn't even more than it might have been slightly over $1 a coin at the time. And they were trying to sell me on it. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with that. That sounds like it sounded like a scam. It sounded like a scam. Definitely a big mistake. Definitely. I mean, if I had bought when it was like $1, yeah, the octagons behind me, or the hexagons behind me, could have been made of gold, but that would look kind of tacky. But nonetheless, let's see. Joe says it's 5 degrees in Ottawa right now. Okay, fair enough. See, I was just guessing. I was out earlier today, but it was pretty warm then. It was also rainy, a little rainy. Paul, put Tesla 1 day chart up to show the volatility. It's all over the place. Yeah, sure. I was, and we did look, whoops, we did look at that a little bit earlier as well. Let me get to Tesla again. Here we go. Yeah, here's, this is, and this isn't even, you can see the volatility here. This here is actually the 1 hour. It's not the 1 day, but this is the 1 hour. And just look. And I will tell you, in all of this mess, I have probably, guys, I have probably made 4 or 5 Tesla swings in here, all of them successful. So this is, for a swing trader, this is beautiful. This is like, this is like the best chart you could see. And Tesla's been really good that way. So, and I know Larry has been making money on Tesla as well. And, you know, this to me is beautiful when you see something like this, especially if you're looking at short-term trading. Mind you now, if you're a long-term trader and you're invested in Tesla, this, if you're watching this, this can drive you crazy. It's like you're happy, you're sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. Honestly, this is one of the things I like to say. I mean, if you're a long-term trader, honestly, you probably shouldn't be looking at the charts like on a short term, because, you know, the short term is really kind of irrelevant. So if I was invested in Tesla for the long term, I would probably be looking at something like, let's see here. I'd probably look at maybe a weekly chart, something like this. Now let's pull this out. And now this is a lot more sane, and you can sort of see there's a general drift upwards. Now each of these candles is 1 week, you know, and you could, you know, you could even collapse it in here a little bit. And this is kind of a neat view too, because you can see all these little E's down here. These are all of the earnings. You can see bad, 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 good, bad, bad, good, bad. Oh, earnings coming up right here. This one here on, yeah, 28th of January of 2026. It looks closer. And that's just news. So yeah, but that's kind of a neat little thing. And that S there, well, that's their last split, 3-1 at that point. So, but yeah, that's kind of the way I would look at it. So if you're a long-term investor, zoom out. That's the view that's going to be the most important to you. That, you know, is it making me money over the long term? You know, and you could even continue to zoom it out, and you can sort of see that, yeah, you know what, look, you know, this has been a stock that has been moving up. You can see that overall trend, and especially if you're thinking, like, I'm planning to hold Tesla for the next 20 years, you don't care about that chart, the initial chart I showed. You really shouldn't even look at it, to be honest. Cowboy, market splash yesterday. Was it the non-budget budget announcement? It's just yesterday was there's a lot of things that was hitting the fan. One of the things is people are starting to get worried about the shutdown in the US. Like, it has now become the longest shutdown in history. At least that's what I heard. I heard that. Yeah, I think there's just a whole bunch of concern. Also, a lot of people are sort of getting to that point, like with SNAP. So I don't know if you've heard of what SNAP is. It's basically, it's a food service in the United States for people who are on like food stamps. So their budget, they're running out of money because of that, of the shutdown. And Trump is kind of saying that, oh, I want them to have money, but I need lawyers to tell me to give it to them first. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, and it looks like they're going to get money, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen soon. So there's going to be a lot of concern going on. So overall, yeah, I think there was a lot of nervousness in the market. Everything from the government shutdown to just the whole, I guess the whole situation is slowly starting to catch up. And we kind of knew this was going to happen. But things today seem to be getting back. The fear seems to be sort of easing a little bit. Canada-wise, I don't think there was a lot of fear about the budget. I think everybody kind of expected the budget to be what we got. I believe it was, what, a $75 million deficit or $1 billion deficit. Bigger than we bigger than it's ever been, but at the same time, that's kind of what we expected. So we'll see how this is all going to look out. Now, there are some other interesting things. I just found this out today. So in the last election, the Conservatives won one seat in Nova Scotia. Well, they lost that seat now because that guy walked over and became a Liberal yesterday, giving the Liberals one more seat. They're still too shy of a majority, so they're going to need, on the 17th, they're going to need 2 votes from another party. Otherwise, if they don't get those 2 votes, that would be considered a vote of non-confidence. I think they're going to I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see the government fall on this budget, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, Rory, and let's get back to the big screen again. Rory says, nah, I like full shares. Some people are like that. I'm like that too. I was. For the longest time, I would, I just wanted full shares. And I guess I finally got over that, but there's just something nice about seeing a whole number. I do like whole numbers a lot. Yeah, Rory, exactly. A conservative became a liberal yesterday. Broken clock is twice a day. Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking. How far behind am I? 4. Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit behind, guys. I might skip over a few little things here, but let's see. MST lows are crazy. It's going down real quick. A bit scary. Yeah, it's one of these things. Well, Bitcoin went down Bitcoin actually made it all the way back down to 100,000. I think it was at 100,000 yesterday. Now things have recovered today. Hopefully that's going to help MSTE a little bit. But yeah, I can understand how that could be very concerning to look at. Roy says, unlike CC, always miss out. Doorpat is in the house. 2026. Okay, I get it. From that ChatGPT story. I am regretting MSTE a bit. Not sure why I FOMO'd in. Yeah, it's one of the things, like, I have exposure to them, but through HHIS. And that's one of the things that I love about HHIS, is that you're getting exposure to a whole bunch. I mean, I love the idea of these single stocks. So all these Harvest single stock ETFs, I love the idea, but you have to have a lot of confidence in that one particular stock. Otherwise, and we already know so Strategy, I always keep wanting to call them MicroStrategy. Strategy, in their goals to gain more and more Bitcoin, they do a lot of different things. One of the things that they do is they will dilute their share and their stock. So that, of course, will help, pull that price down. Now, what and what Michael Saylor will say to the people who hold Strategy is that, hey, just have patience. In the end, we're going to do really, really well as Bitcoin, makes its next big moves, of course. So, there is all of that. I think he's brilliant, but at the same time, I don't 100% agree with the vision that he has right now. And I know some people do, and that's fine. And it's okay to agree with him. I'm just not there. I'm not there. So for me, I don't want direct exposure to Strategy at this point in time. So I would prefer to get my exposure right now through something like HHIS. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And Rory's calling it a dumpster fire. It can definitely feel like that. And keep in mind, they also cut their dividend too. So there is that as well. That's kind of like adding insult to injury. I'm hoping, and I've been saying this, I think long term they will recover, but it's tough to hold them in the meantime, that's for sure. Let's say UTLY and Coney are in the same boat. Yeah. And I've heard a lot, like, there's so many people that were really hyping UTLY, the Yield Max ETF. Especially, especially American YouTubers. They were definitely a lot of them on board with it. I don't know what it is, guys. I'm just not a fan of YieldMax. I know they've got some crazy dividends, and they've got, of course, their synthetic covered calls as well. But I don't know. For me, there's a level of risk I'm willing to take, and they seem to go beyond it quite a bit. So I find that, yeah, I'm a little skeptical of YieldMax. All right. So when is 60 being released? So it's a covered call ETF by Evolve, but holding the Canadian banks. So yes. So yeah, Amrit. There's not a release date announced yet, but from watching how fast these ETFs have been coming out from the prospectus, I would not be surprised to see it within a month. I think you'll definitely see it before the end of the year. So yeah, look for it soon. Yeah. I think the prospectus, I can't remember, it might have even been dropped yesterday. I just know I found out about it yesterday, and I let you guys, well, I dropped the thing in the Discord, so you guys would know. And I also, of course, threw it up over there on the Blossom. All right. Cece, do you believe Bitcoin is now too much a part of main S&P ETF such that it's unlikely to dive in its 4-year cycle, but rather follow the S&P and only dive with market crashes? That's a beautiful question. I've been saying something about this. So crypto winter, just to give you guys some perspective here. Actually, we're on the 1 week chart. So let's actually go back. I want to show you guys. Let's go to Bitcoin. Perfect. This is what I'm looking for. This is the 1 week chart. All right, let's see here. This is what I think here. Yeah, okay. I just was getting my bearings. So this here is a crypto winter right in here. This little bit in here, this is crypto winter right there. So this was our last big pump up. So right here, this is where we peaked back in November of 2021. And then, boy, did we go down. And that's funny. Like, look at this. So there, November 2021, and we hit the bottom by June of 2022. So not even a year. It took less than a year. It took what? About 6 months? 6 months to go from the high to the low. Well, technically, we had this other little low here, but it happened very, very fast. In fact, and I've mentioned this before, I don't know if any of you know who the friggin' Oracle is. Now he's just called Freakin'. He has this night show. I was on his show one night, actually, in November of 2022. And as we were on the show, and this was like around midnight, at least midnight Eastern time, it started. Like this red in here, I don't know if we can, let's see if I can pull this up here a little bit so you can sort of see it better. This red candle right here, this all started, like this is a weak candle, but it was on this candle here. We got, most of that happened on that show, and it was a pretty quick trip down. But all right, anyway, let's get back to here. So what I was talking about is, you'll notice here, so here was our crypto winter, and then we've exploded after that. That's a normal thing, because guys, look, I'll show you something over here. See this little area in here? This is another crypto winter. You can sort of see another high, and then into a crypto winter in through here, a little high, a little crypto winter, and then a high. So here's the thing. When you look at that amount of drop, and this is kind of what CC is getting at. So nowadays, we got spot Bitcoin ETFs in the United States. There's a lot more institutional investors in Bitcoin than ever before. So if we get another crypto winter, and we're going to get one, is it going to retract like that? So, you look at that, and in a way, if you look at where we came in, where we came out, it was just a little bit. So if you think of it from that perspective, you could say, okay, well, we came in about here, so maybe we should be coming out about here around 46,000. So maybe it'll drop to 46,000. It's possible, but I think it's unlikely because of all of that liquidity that is in Bitcoin. So I think when you look here, you notice how we got a little bit of a support in here. And you can tell all of that sideways movement. So that's all moving around. You know, basically you can think of a support, you can think resistance, but you can think whatever you want to think. But we have this level in here around the 60. So I think that's more reasonable, 60,000 as a low. But that would depend. If we dropped right now, maybe. But here's this thing. Look at this. We also got this other strong support level in here around 84, 85,000. So if Bitcoin, continues to go up for a bit more, and I think it might. I think we're going to hit 30,000 at least. So there's 30,000 right about here. I think we're going back up to here. So it could very well be with that added support that something like 85,000 could be our floor. So here's how I would word it. I would say we have a good chance of our floor being 85,000 with a worst case scenario of 65,000. That's how I would look at the next crypto winter. When is it going to happen? I don't know. All right. Rory says ibuprofen works better. What, making autistic children? Rory, it's 4 degrees Celsius now, not -4. Okay. Larry says, been listening to that new Harry Potter audiobook. Only issue is they don't use the original music. Very good background noises, voices, acting per character is good. Okay, fair enough. Maybe it might be the actual cost of the music. Maybe that's maybe they're like, how much is it going to cost to use that music? Okay, we'll use something else. Sometimes that's the situation. Yeah, I have a feeling too. And I haven't seen data on this, but I have a feeling overall books probably are not getting the amount of sales they used to get. I think they're down big time for sure. All right, Huge Melee. Oh, Huge Melio says, my experience with crypto has been painful. MST down 43%, XRP down 25%. At Meest, it wasn't a big part of my portfolio, but it hurts. Yeah, so, and this is where diversification comes in. So I know there are people, like back in the day when Bitcoin was absolutely exploding, I just looked and noticed something. Guys, I don't know if I even had... When I was showing you the chart, I may not have even had it on the screen. I'm not 100% sure if I did or not. I'll find out when I get caught up. I may have to bring that back up. But, yeah, okay, back to this one here. So, yeah, when it comes to diversification, so if you put all, like, and back in the day when, and we still have this up here, let me pull it back up. So back in the day, back in this FOMO for here, like this from here to here, going from this low here to this high, I heard a lot of people back in the day saying, oh, I sold all my stocks and went 100% into Bitcoin or Ethereum. And I'm just like, oh, dear God. And those, well, look what happened to them. Look what happened to them. Now, unfortunately, when this happens to you, if you're going to FOMO into something, do you think when it goes south, you're not going to be one of those people who realizes your losses and gives in to FUD, so fear, uncertainty, and doubt? You probably are. So if you can't control your emotions on the way up, what makes you think you can control your emotions on the way down? I would say you don't got a chance. You don't got a lot of chance of doing that. So just something to keep in mind here. But yeah, I can understand that. Now, the nice thing with crypto, now my strategy itself, that's kind of a different story, but I think XRP, I think you're going to be fine with XRP if you hold on, if you just, I wouldn't worry about the XRP. I think the strategy might take a little bit longer because the way Michael Saylor is doing it, it's frustrating. It's beyond frustrating. That's where you have to decide. I mean, I can't tell you to get out, or I can't tell you to hold on for dear life with that one. You kind of have to sort of decide what your risk profile is with that, and what your exit strategy is, or what you're willing to go through, for sure. Cowboy says, I bought a little HBTE. Sounds like a good payout. See what the reality is going to be. Yeah, so far HBTE has been, well, it's more than doubled. Like, its total return has doubled in the 0 to 100K challenge. That to me, like, I had no expectations for HBTE to double. But it has. It's absolutely, and keep in mind, it's not that it's doubled in share value, but when you add the share value plus those dividends, because it does have a pretty high payout, that has produced a total return above 100%. So that's just crazy. And yeah, that's all I can say. Rory, isn't there a tariff ruling in the U.S. coming up? Yeah, I think one of the courts actually is looking at tariffs. So, but I always look at it this way. Here's the thing: anytime there's a ruling against Trump's tariffs, he appeals it, and the tariffs stay in place, and he'll just keep appealing things until they eventually get to the Supreme Court. And he has stacked the Supreme Court in his favor. So I don't hold out a lot of hope for any kind of tariff ruling in our favor in the U.S. That's for sure. All right. And just give me 1 second here. I'm going to skip ahead. Oh boy, we're really, really far behind. But I noticed we got a couple things in here, and I wanted to quickly jump ahead just to these. Scratch has a super chat in here. Best candle description ever. Nice, nice. Gotta love the candles. All right. That, though, does make Scratch. Makes him our first goat of the day. So the corral is open. Nice. All right. Now, if that wasn't enough, we then got a second super in here from Paul. Do not see any charts about crypto. I didn't have it up. I didn't. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. That's the chart that's behind me right now, guys. That's the one I was talking about that whole time. Oh boy. Oh boy. But nonetheless, that does, don't want to get distracted. That makes Paul another goat. So we got a couple of goats in our corral today. If we get 4 goats in that corral, guys, that means we got a Friday show. So we're halfway there. All right. Oh boy. I still can't believe I didn't have that up. I can't believe I didn't have that up. All right. Well, I can. I've done it before. All right. Let's see here. All right. I think we're here. There we go. We were right about there. All right. Now, Paul says, looked at my old March statement from Wealthsimple, had a larger TSLA buy at 225 March 10th and April 24th at Questrade at 250, twice as large as the first one. Nice. They want dem stamps. I see what you did there, Larry. I see what you did there. Let's see, Paul. Crypto has really come back fast. Yeah, well, I mean, look, today Bitcoin is up a little bit, 103,000 after that 100,000 yesterday. But I'd like to see Bitcoin have a really good week. Rory says 78.3 billion. Okay, and that is, of course, in reference to that deficit for sure. Yesterday was a good buying day, absolutely. All right, Vincent says, I bought some American Pharma, Amgen Inc. earlier this year, and was disappointed since then. Up 8.2% today only. Well, being up 8.2% is not that bad. But yeah, I can understand that. Let's see. They're only one other party this time around. I've been keeping track of my drips through a spreadsheet. You got me there. I love spreadsheets. I'm a big fan of spreadsheets. Now, like MSTE, I'm investing into HHIS and BIGY with the divs. How do you track those dividends received that are invested elsewhere? So when I look at it in my spreadsheet, I just count the dividends coming in. I count that as part of the total return. So I keep track, of course, of the total dividends coming in. Now, where they go doesn't matter because that number is then added. It's added into my totals. So basically, it moves from where, let's say, for example, if it comes in from a London Gold, well, that dividend isn't going back into London Gold. It goes back into the pot. The pot, the finance, and that gets added in. I've got columns for everything. So that goes into another column, gets added into the amount of money that is available. But yeah, to me, I just sort of look at it that way because I don't reinvest my dividends at all, to be honest. Because what I like to do is, I like to pool them together and put that money where it's going to work the best. Whether it be if I got a big buy the dip opportunity, for example, I might put all those dividends into that. So yeah, but yeah, that's just how I do it, at least in the spreadsheet per se. Pierre says, let's see, I made a big mistake to buy MDA Space when it was high in the 40s. Now it keeps tanking. Yeah, MDA Space. They're disappointing. Like I actually highlighted them not that long ago as a potential, company that can do really well. Well, how they were going to do really well was some of the infrastructure, some of the defense, some of the aero stuff that we'll be doing as part of that, part of the Arctic defense. That potential is still there for them. So I think they're going to do fine long term, but they took a big hit. They took a big hit when they lost one of their big contracts to Starlink. So, yeah, I feel bad about it, but I think they're going to be fine. I probably, I probably wouldn't mind getting back in on them once they fall a little lower, because I know that they're going to go up, I think, in the longer term. But it could be rough for the next little bit. Paul says, I guess with cover call ETFs, when the underlying goes down, at least you can drip at a lower price. Okay, fair enough. Brian, cashed out my TSLY yesterday, took the 27% profit I was holding in it, then saw that ETH dumped to $3, so I bought 10,000 shares at $3 and already up 2,100 today. Nice. Yeah, no, Ethereum is up almost 5% today. So that's not a bad thing at all. All right. Larry says MicroStrategy 2X Bull ETF dropped from mid-20s to 268. I might pick up some soon. Yeah. I mean, yeah, MicroStrategy. So strategy will recover. I mean, as I always talk about the fact that, yeah, what Michael Saylor's doing is outside of my risk profile, but he always does seem to win. So there is that. As well. I always keep that in mind as well. Show us the money. The money. I love money. Brian says, I can only imagine the crypto winter since you were with full screen. Yeah, I know. And but here it is. Here's that crypto winter I was talking about right there. This is your 2001. There's that crypto winter. Here's this big movement up here. Oh boy. Yeah. And and these are those two zones I was sort of talking about. Now, what I probably should have done, guys, is I probably should have just grabbed myself a line here. And put in a line. Like I say, there is a potential area of support, and our other one is right in here. So This is kind of what I'm looking at crypto winter wise. This is best case, worst case. But, you know, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. That's, you know, obviously, if we get on this crazy run with Bitcoin and it keeps going well beyond where anybody expects it to go, those lines might become irrelevant at that point. They'll definitely move up, but we'll see. We'll have to see. Right now, those are my best case, worst case right there. All right. Yeah, I know. Jim says 60 might take a little longer to get through the regulation phase because it holds 6 holdings. So there's an extra step because it doesn't hold the minimum 10 holdings. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I still think, and keep in mind too, when you're dealing with a company as big as Evolve is, you know, they crazy cross their I's and dot their I's and cross their T's. You know, and I know I've done 2 sponsored videos for them, and I will tell you, quite literally, I've had to refilm on all of those videos at least 3-4 times. I think one of them 6 times, just to get, and you know, because of their legal saying, nope, you can't use that word. There's a word you can't use, and for me, it's like, what? Why? But that happens. I know, Lord Fubar. I know. See nothing. Do not see any crypto winter charts. Not seeing anything. Best candle description ever. I know. Oh boy. This is hilarious. See, this is what I missed. I missed all of this. I saw the supers, of course. Someone sent a super and she might get a notification. The crypto winter has the charts buried. Yes, they're buried in snow. Oh, God. Soon enough, that'll be in the forecast, guys. Yeah, now we know what she looks like when she has a chart up and is talking to us. Yep, the side view. Me not see. Candace, perhaps a tablet in your view showing your live stream while you're talking. I have it, actually. I actually have I got a test right there, but the problem is my screen is here. My test is here. So if I turn to look at this, I'm not, yeah. What we need to do, guys, is we need to have a button that you guys can press that maybe gives me a little shock or something to let me know I don't have the screen up. Of course, we'll get that one person who'll come along who will just shock me every so often just for fun, though. That's probably going to happen. I'd do it to me, so. Paul, the current Bitcoin chart doesn't look like past cycles. There seems to be lots of manipulation by Binance and Wintermute. Yeah, I think things are changing. Like, things are different. And normally with investing, people love to say, oh, this time it's different, but it never is. Except for now. When it comes to Bitcoin, things are definitely different. There's a lot more liquidity. That's the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, it's still the same though, but it is different. So that's kind of that thing. Like that's why I'm kind of saying, like, you know, crypto winter, we're not looking at that bad. If anything, I mean, and I'm kind of disappointed. If Bitcoin right now could have a big crash back to 20,000 and then recover. Do you know how much I'd be spending a lot of money down at 20,000 Bitcoin. I definitely. Let's see. Tom Lee says 50K by the end of the year. It's a possibility. I tend to go a little bit more conservative. That's where I'm sitting right now. I'm thinking 130, but I could see it going as high as 150 for sure. And I need a shaker. Absolutely. See, 2 more supers, I think, for a Friday show. That is exactly what that means. I just need to stop showing you guys stuff so that you use supers to make me show you stuff. There we go. Oh, boy. Lord Fubar, the cover call ETFs go up and down at a different pace of the underlying. They can. I mean, they don't. There will be correlation. But you got to keep in mind that there are other things going on as well, depending on what the ETF does. So, for example, when you're going up, you're going to lose some of that upside potential because of strike prices getting hit and being forced to sell and then rebuy at a higher price. So you lose a little bit. So you don't go up as steep. So your slope is different. You have a higher slope on the underlying asset than you would in the covered call, but you're also getting that income as well. So even when you add that income in, you're still usually not catching up to the underlying assets. And this is the thing. This is the thing about income investing. You know, all of those people who are on the dividend growth side, who are on the growth side, their argument is that you're losing money. You're losing money. But income investors already know this. They know that capped upside is happening, and that is part of the trade-off. So, you know, you're getting money now while the dividend growth people are getting money later. And that's kind of that thing. It's kind of like that kid. If you sit a kid down and you put a cookie in front of them, you can say, you can have that cookie now if you want it. But if you don't touch that cookie, I'll give you an extra cookie in an hour. Well, most kids are probably not going to survive. They might look and say, oh, that's a great deal. And they'll just look at that cookie. And they'll look at that cookie. Next thing you know, they'll have eaten that cookie. And then it'll be like, but you could have had 2 cookies in an hour. I know, but I wanted the cookie now. And it's that's kind of that same thing. And you know what? In some cases, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because if you think about it, if you're using it for income and you're relying on that income now, it's part of your lifestyle. Yeah, you're still going up. Maybe you're not going up as fast, but you know what? Your lifestyle needs are being met. You know, you've got that income coming out, especially in retirement. You got that income coming out that you can rely on, that you can pay your bills, that you can put food on your table. Whereas some of those dividend growth, not all of them, but a few of those dividend growth people might be, you know, they might be in the whole minimalist lifestyle where they're like, I'm not going to buy a coffee. No, I can't buy that. I can't buy that. I need to save money to build that giant nest egg at the end. Yeah, I mean, both of them are legitimate ways of investing, but you know, you have to find for you which is that style that you want to go. All right, down faster and up slower. Sometimes. Let's see. Bismarcky, I have crypto. I'm not selling if it goes to 0. Then it goes to 0, less than 5% of my total portfolio. Oh, boy. Paul, with Canadian dollar not liking the budget, sticking with HHIS.U versus HHIS, can always journal the income later. Yeah, absolutely. So, and you'll notice like a lot of companies will have a .U, a version, and that just means it's hedged to the US dollar. So some people will go with that. Especially in times where, you know, the Canadian currency might be taking a hit. And right now, let's just take a look. Where's the Canadian dollar at right now here? All right. Well, it's actually not looking that bad. Right now, it's at 70, at least, well, 70.84. So I've seen it worse than that. But, you know, let's see here. Cowboy, here Ebby is going to run ads in states. Yeah. Last thing we need is to aggravate Trump. I mean, yeah, he doesn't take it very well, that's for sure. Let's see. Paul says you need a separate monitor to monitor the live stream to see if what you are talking about is on the screen. I do. Like quite literally, Paul. I'll go big screen for this. Right there. That is the laptop that is monitoring the screen, the stream. So it is there. It is there. I just, what can I say? You probably missed it. There was actually, over in the cat tree, there's a cat there sleeping, but she's pretty flush with it, so hard to see. All right. Snowball Analytics is great. All right. Yeah. And let's see. I still use OpenOffice for my spreadsheets. I've never used OpenOffice. I will admit I am using Excel. I really like Excel, and I know I probably should learn how to use one of the freer options like Google Sheets. Let's see. Strategy is down in the last 6 months, 37.37%. Yikes. Yeah. That does scare me a little bit. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm really glad. I will tell you, there was one point many years ago, I made a giant swing trade on MicroStrategy. Now, this was during the pandemic. Um, it worked out. It worked out. It was nail biting though, because it was a big trade. So sometimes a big trade can get a little nail biting. Amrit says, reason I was tracking drips is because I'm utilizing my TFSA. I was trying to track so I know what is my actual book value. The divs I think of as free money. Well, simple, I wasn't sure if it tracked. Yeah, so okay, so the dividends, here's the thing you got to remember. So with your TFSA, and oh, you know what? It is, I will make sure, first of all, that I'm sharing. And Canva. Let's see here, and let's go with a whiteboard. All right, here we go, and we'll get a pen. We'll get a pen here. Let's go to Tools, a drawing tool. All right. All right, so this is going to be your TFSA right here. Woohoo! Perfect. So when you're looking at it, you got your contribution space. I'm just going to put CS here. So that's your contribution space. So that there is the space that you're allotted by the government. So for example, if you have, if you've never done anything with your TFSA and you're brand new and you're coming in, you're looking at about 102,000 right now of contribution space. In January, that'll be 109,000. All right, there we go, 0, 0, 0. That's a, there we go. Want to make sure that that comes off as a comma. So yeah, that's a contribution space. Now, when you, let's just say, for example, your TFSA, let's just say you used all 102,000 and bang, it's sitting there. That's you got your full contribution. Well, yeah, you're growing it with dividends. So if you're receiving, let's just say you receive, to make this easy, I'm just going to say, let's say you receive $1,000 a year in dividends. That's low. With $102,000, you should be making more. But I'm just using that because it's an easier number. So yeah, so in that first year, you've now got 103,000 in there. Now your contribution room is 102 and your dividends are 1. Simple as that. Now, if you take that 1 out, so we'll do it that way. If you take that 1 out, so let's say you're living off of that. Well, at that point, what that means is that you now have, you've got 102 in here, your contribution room, it's still 102. But when they give you your new contribution space, you're going to get that 7,000. Well, you're also going to get that 1 back in space that you used. So you would have in here, if you maxed it out again, you'd be able to max it out in this case here to 110. So that way there, it keeps growing that way. Now, your contribution space and your growth space are a little bit different. Now, here's that neat little thing. So if you have, if you have, let's say you had your 102, but you bought bad stuff, all of a sudden it shrunk down to, I don't know, let's say it's shrunk down to 100. Well, then you've lost 2. Now that 2 that you've lost, that's from your contribution. That will, it's not technically from your contribution space. You've contributed, but it just shrunk it down to 2. So your, basically your gains, your losses, they change. They either shrink or grow the TFSA per se. So, they might grow it or they might shrink it. That or that. They're going to do one of the two. So they're going to shrink or they're going to grow it. One of those will happen, but your contribution room will always stay pretty stable, like you will always have. Now, if you shrink it, let's just say you had 102 in it. Let's say you did some really bad stuff. Let's say you invested in like Weed MD or something. And now you've only got a 50,000 TFSA. Well, your contribution, you're still going to get your 7,000. But that 50,000 that you lost, that's gone forever. It's gone forever. You could still grow this if you make good choices, but you'll never get that 50,000 back. But if you had dividends in there, you get the dividends back. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, because that's kind of that whole thing that happens there. So, you know, what Wealthsimple, what they're really tracking for you. So when you look in Wealthsimple, you go in, it will tell you that you contributed this amount in this year. That's all they're calculating. So while you're in there, if you've gained dividends, that's not getting added to that number. That number is just what you contributed. And what's nice is if anybody here started Wealthsimple in 2025, I'll just put it here, Wealthsimple in 2025, you can see this very easily. If you look at what it says that you contributed, you know, maybe if you're a new person, maybe you contributed $795. But if you look at your balance, you know, it might be, maybe it's $912. So this difference right there between those two numbers, well, this is going to be growth. All right, TH, there we go, growth and dividends. That is the difference between those two numbers. So, you know, it's one of those things. So when you're calculating, so when you're keeping track, so here's that thing. So when you look at CRA, the CRA will give you a contribution room. They'll give you your space. So they might say, you know, maybe it says 24,000 over there. Well, that doesn't mean that your total space is 24,000. They're giving you the number of what you've got left to contribute. So if they said 24,000, now you also want to keep a track that even though everything resets January 1st, so January 1st, you get your new contribution room, you get back anything that you took out of it, but the CRA usually doesn't update well into the year. You're probably looking at definitely after your taxes, and even after your taxes, it still takes them a while. So you're probably going to get your more accurate number probably like June, maybe July, but you know, so you really, I always say calculate yourself. This is why I do love that Wealthsimple is at least doing this, showing you what you're contributing in the year. That makes it a lot easier for sure. All right. Vic said, pulled over to hit like and say hi. I love it. All right. Let me just take a quick, I want to skip ahead for 1 second, guys, because I see something. Here we go. We got a super from scratch. Let's get to 4 supers for a show on Friday. Maybe Candace will consider having a third screen, one for the stream, one for the candles, and one for whiteboard. Oh, gosh, yeah. If I had my way, I'd have like 6 screens. Oh, and it's funny, like my main screen. So the main screen that I'm looking at right now in front of me, which is where actually I'm holding the StreamYard at the moment, it's a double width monitor. So because it's double width, I can do 2. It's basically the same size as 2 monitors together. So I've got it set up that way. And then I got the laptop on one side, and I got another big monitor on the other side. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Like, it's the only problem is, and I am teaching myself OBS because I'm going to be switching to OBS here in probably by the beginning of December. And OBS, I think I'm going to have more options. So currently with the StreamYard, I can only share one screen. So I can share one screen. I have to pick it. Otherwise, I have to then unshare it and share a different screen. So I can do it that way, which is a lot of work. I want to get it set up where I can have just a couple of buttons where I can just click from scene to scene. And, you know, kind of like when I do this, you know, from that scene to this scene, I can go back and forth pretty easy. I can go back to this one. And that's kind of what I want to set up with the OBS. So anyway, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But I almost got distracted. Scratch is also now a goat. That's our third goat in the enclosure. So one more, and we got a Friday stream. All right, now this is the fun part. I have to now, the way these comments scroll, I now have to scroll backwards to get to where I was. All right, let's see here. Actually, Scratch, I think that's your second super of the day. So thank you very, very much. All right, let's see here. All right, I am really, really close. Here we are. Hi, y'all, and Candace. Where to invest in an all-time high market? Africa? Investing in all-time high markets is always fun, because here's the thing. And, well, yeah, we're going to do it. Whoops, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. All right. I like to show this as and we're going to go to VFV. So this here is the Vanguard S&P 500, because it gives you well, it's the market. It is the S&P 500. So I'm going to grab the 10-year. All right. So when you're talking about where should I invest in all-time markets? Well, look at it this way. This here was an all-time high. So was here. So was here. So was here. So was here. Then a little bear market, but back to all-time. So we're always going to go to all-time highs. And that's a normal thing. So if we go back, here's this beautiful thing here. If we go back to the, there's the market close. If we go back here to the whiteboard, if you had a market and the value never changed. So let's say your market total was, let's say the S&P 500 is stuck at 5,000. So 5,000 in value. Would that be a straight line? Well, what do you think? Would it be a straight line? Well, there's another thing in here as well. We've got this thing called inflation. So that 5,000 over time is going to be worth, well, it's going to change in value to maybe 5,100. Who knows whatever time it is. So as a result, with the stock staying the same relative value, they're still going up. They're still going up, but they haven't actually gained any value. They're still exactly worth the same amount. So the 5,100 in the current day values is worth the 5,000 in old day values. So number one, if the market doesn't gain any value, inflation will still push it up a little bit. So it's always going to have that upward movement. Within that upward movement, well, we're going to get cycles. We're going to get cycles. And those cycles will be moving above it, above that trend, below that trend, above that trend, below that trend. And those cycles can also be manipulated as well. So if the company actually does, let's do a second one here. If that company actually does start to gain value, well, you can see it starting to move up and interfere with the other drawing, because that's what they do. But in a case like that, this little red line, well, eventually you kind of have to sort of adjust it to move into what it's doing over time. And these red lines, you can think of them as moving averages. So it just gives you a general idea of the way things work. So going back to, right here, Vanguard, you'll see that no matter what, there's always going to be a new all-time high. Now, there can be times, like if you bought right here, so this here, the beginning of the bear market in 2020, at the end of 2021, if you bought right here, oh boy, you would be like, you would have wished you had bought later. Absolutely. Because, look, it went down. And by the time you got back to your 2021 top of the bear market, top of the bull market, You know, it was, you know, not quite a year. Well, actually, yeah, a little more than a year, almost 2 years. So that there's almost 2 years to get back. So yeah, I can understand that. And that's kind of one of those things. But here's the thing, RD. If you are a long-term investor, so if you've been stacking the VFE because, you know, maybe it's your core ETF in your, let's say you have a hybrid. We'll say you have a hybrid strategy. If that's your core ETF, well, and you've got, let's say you've got a runway of 10 years. Well, look at this. We're not even at the 31, so we can't even do 31. But let's say, okay, let's go to, oh, you know what? Let's go to 2015. Can I go to 2015? Well, it's pretty close to here. So this here is 10 years. So if you had a 10-year runway, and you'll notice here that right away you actually went into a tiny bear market right there because it went down. So if you're buying here, knowing that you're gonna, you know, I mean, look at this. I mean, you know, $49, basically $50. If you were buying 10 years ago at $50 and you had a 10-year runway, gosh, you could have bought it, you know, you could have bought it at 50, or maybe you could have held out for 46. But either way, you got it at 46, you got it at 50, compared to 170, you've won in both scenarios. Big time won. And that's kind of the market. The market will always keep moving up. Overall, there will be those other trends. Here's Liberation Day. This is, you know, this is the Donald Trump effect right there. Here's the last bear market. We're going to get more of these. Here's the pandemic right here. You can see that other thing. It's kind of funny. In a way, Liberation Day looks to be almost as bad as the pandemic. Two natural disasters, I guess. But, you know, you just have to, things are always going to move up. So the best way to invest, honestly, the best way to invest is dollar cost averaging. And this is, it doesn't even matter if you're an income or if you are a growth investor. Dollar cost averaging still wins out the day because you're going to get a fair price. Yeah, you know, you're not going to be playing the market trying to guess. You know, we love to say buy the dip, but how do you know it's the dip? You don't, because, you know, if, and let's go back once again to the whiteboard. You know, if this is what the market's doing, and all of a sudden it's right here, and you're like, oh, look at this, we're in the dip, buy the dip. Maybe you're not. Maybe the market's going to really crash, you know, and do something like that, like Liberation Day type thing. So if you bought it at the beginning thinking, oh, I'm in the dip, well, you weren't. But now, if you're dollar cost averaging, you know, you're buying it at a regular interval, right? Bang, 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 bang. Well, you got the dip. That person actually did get the dip. But when you average all of that out, that person is probably paying a fairer price, a more fair price for that asset. So that's one of the reasons that it does tend to be a more profitable, because a lot of times when you're trying to play the market kind of plays you instead. So you got to be a little bit careful. Now, I like a hybrid of this. So I usually have a little bit of cash for dips, but for the most part, I'll dollar cost average, and then when I see a big dip like this, I'll deploy some of my money on it for sure. So I will do a bit of both. All right, Amrid, yep, hoping MSTE drips in other places will make up the losses for now. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's a thing to keep in mind too, though, guys. So if you have, so let's say you have something like, well, we'll just use MSTE. You know, if you're getting this crazy dividend, and I honestly, I don't remember what the dividend is on MSTE right now, because it doesn't really interest me. I think it's high though. Something tells me it was 45%, and then I think it got cut to 35%, or maybe it was 35 and went to 25. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But the argument here is, if you've got a share price, so let's say your share price is $100. But you're receiving, well, say you're receiving, on that $100, let's say you're receiving $1 a month. $1 a month in dividends. So if you have $100 and that share drops down to 98, but you've received that $1 for that first month, well, at that point, you don't need to be at 100 to break even. Your break-even point is actually 99 because you have to keep track of the money that you have received. That way there, if you're looking for an exit, so let's say you say, oh, I made a big mistake with this one, I want to exit. So if you want to exit and you're at a point like, let's say you, in this case, we'll say you put in, you know what, let's do it big. You put in $100,000. So you put in $100,000, you're looking for an exit point, but while you're waiting for that exit point, you've received, let's say, $15,000 in dividends. So then your exit point is not when your book value is back to 100,000. If you're, if you're just wanting to get out, if you're just wanting to get out without losing money, I want to point that out. Well, your exit point is actually, in this case here, it's actually 85,000. If you get out at 85,000, you break even. If you get out anywhere above 85,000, you have made profit. You have made a total return on that. So you always want to keep that in mind when you're looking for an exit strategy. And it doesn't even have to be, it doesn't have to be a covered call or something big. You could have something like Enbridge. Let's say you entered Enbridge. Let's say you put, we'll say just $5,000 in Enbridge. But while you've been doing that, you've received, I don't know, we'll say $500. Let's say you've received $500 in total dividends over the time that you've had Enbridge, and you're looking to get out of Enbridge. Well, your break even is actually, in this case, $4,500. Simple as that. So your break even is $4,500, not $5,000. 5,000 is nice. If you got out at 5,000, you actually have a total return of 5,500 because you got to add them dividends in. All right. Paul, let's see. Iron has days of plus 20 or minus 10 and then plus 10. CIFR has the same thing. Some of the miners are pivoting to data centers with the power they have. Nice. Okay. Let's see here. And guys, I am going to be skipping over some stuff because I'll tell you right now, I am almost 30 minutes behind. 30 minutes behind. So if you guys remember when I've said Q, 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 if you've got a question, or even question mark, either or, those ones I'm going to not skip over, but just if you got something important that you want to get to me, do those for sure. All right, let's see here. Let's see, Hugo Mello, have a good afternoon, Candace. You do a great job. I am happy I found your channel. Lots of valuable information. Well, I'm good to see you here. Good to see you here for sure. All right. All right, let's see here. I'm going to Barry's Bay tomorrow. It's snowing there. Snow! I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. We will see in the next year if the BTC is correlated to the NASDAQ. Yeah, and that could be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very much thinking we're going to see a lot more stability and we're going to see a lot of that volatility start to come out of Bitcoin over the next 5 years. I think it's going to be good. Paul, the drops are caused by exchanges chasing the Bitcoin logs to liquidate them. Then they go after the shorts or the longs. Okay. Let's see. 6 months total return for Tesla, plus 56% versus Harvest TSLY, plus 67%. How does that work for the growth investors? Say cover call ETFs bad? You gotta look at it. There are exceptions to the rule. Like in general, yes, you will not make as much of a total return with a covered call version of the underlying assets, but there are exceptions. There are absolutely exceptions. There are some, like HDIV. HDIV has been overperforming big time this year. That's one great example. And yeah, what Paul's showing here, Tesla doing 67% compared to Tesla at 56. So yeah, there are definitely. One of the things too is keep in mind, covered calls will win over the regular things in sideways markets. So sideways or even slightly bearish markets, cover calls will do really, really well, and you can beat the underlying assets during that time as well. And Tesla, yeah, Tesla's had an interesting ride. Now, the one thing that does shock me is there's definitely been a lot of opportunity, I think, ups and downs where you might expect a lot of strike prices to get hit, but yeah, those are interesting. Now, I haven't run that data myself, but I definitely trust Paul. Paul does a lot of data. Lord Fubar, I am retired and have not contributed to my TFSA for 3 years. Monthly dividends are a must for me. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's, that is absolutely one of those things. Like when I talk about people who are retired, a lot of times those covered call ETFs and the income stream that they're pulling tax-free out of their TFSA, that can be the difference. That can be the difference between having a nice home cooked meal or hoping you get a good selection at the food bank. It's kind of the way the world is, unfortunately. Claude says, I like to have all three styles of investing: open growth, dividend growth, and covered calls income. Yeah, so there is our hybrid. There's our hybrid strategy for sure. That's the strategy. I like that one the most. Let's see. The dividend guy got burned by AQN in the past. I think a lot of people got burned by Algonquin, to be honest. Here we go. We got some QQQs. Do Canadian ETFs get the tax credit if held in non-registered, such as bank or HHIC? The answer is yes and no. Let me explain. So if you're looking at bank, we'll look at bank. So yes, any of the portion of the distribution that you're receiving that comes from dividends would be considered eligible Canadian dividends. So you'll get some of it. But keep in mind, you're also going to get like all of the premiums. That's usually getting wrangled under under ROC, so return of capital. You're also going to have some capital gains in there as well. But for the dividend component, yes, they would be considered Canadian eligible dividends. Let's see, Cardinal Energy. Good old Cardinal Energy. Jim Peterson, what I like about the PII strategy is you get paid monthly or semi-monthly that you can redeploy to get a little more each time. Oh yeah, oh no, absolutely. Oh guys, are you guys not hitting the like button? Because you guys got Mary off the seat. Hit the like button, folks, please. Oh, that's so good. Rory says, I only see 5 likes. It's more than 5. You don't do this unless you are a premium YouTube person. But a lot of times it doesn't update the likes for you unless you actually hit a refresh. So my test account shows 1 like, but I'm going to hit refresh on the test account. Oh boy. The test account is now watching a commercial. What can I say? What can I say? Yeah, all right. So yeah, and it's now showing 45 likes, but oh dear. Bismarcky, like button smashed, Mary. Jim says, I just double checked, Mary, and my like is lit up. Nice. I'll tell you, funny thing about YouTubers is there's many times I've been watching somebody I like, and they bring up, they say, oh, and don't forget to hit that like button. And I'm like, of course I hit the like button. Then I look down and I haven't, and I'm like, oh, I forgot. So I actually appreciate it when I hear it personally. All right, I think Nutrien is a good buy right now. Nutrien. I mean, oh, gosh, they have struggled for a while. They've struggled for sure. But yeah, I think they're definitely good. Also, a lot of the stuff that they sell to China, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong. I know we got some people here who know Nutrien better than I do, but I think we're getting close to one of those periods where they do send a lot of their stuff over to China. So, yeah, I do like Nutrien. I think Nutrien is a good long term. Oh, see, now, Lord Fubar, you just reminded me of something. So, holy smokes, Cardinal Energy has a huge dividend. Thanks, Scratch. Well, that's not what that reminded me of. What actually, Fortis. Fortis is, they're, well, they're raising their dividend again. But is that any surprise? Probably not, because this is the time of the year they do it, because they are a dividend king. And they've raised their dividend for more than 50 years in a row. And they've announced that they're doing it again. Of course they are. All right. Paul says, Windows 10 users are switching to Linux. I signed up for an extra year for Windows by signing into a Microsoft account. Once I got that, signed out a Microsoft account, no keeps saying sign in. Oh, I have no clue what's going on with Windows, to be honest. I haven't used a Windows computer in, I think that I probably troubleshot my mom's maybe 5 years ago. But yeah, I haven't used Windows in forever. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'd want to use Linux. I'm very happy in my Mac environment, to be honest. Scratch. They can grow production with a low decline rate. This one is a must-have for the long run. Let's see. I hope those who have Novo Nordisk were watching it carefully. PZA, PZA, so Pizza, down today. Do you know of a reason? No. But let's see if we can get a reason for you. All right. PZA. Here we go. PZA right here. Pizza. All right, let's take a look here. All right. Well, oops. We're still on the weekly. That's not going to help us. Let's switch it. We're going to switch back to the hourly. All right. Here we go. Oh boy. All right. And let's bring it in here. All right. Oh boy. Yeah, they've been down for a little bit, but we got some earnings in here. This is what's going on here. So they had earnings drop. It looks like yesterday. They missed on their earnings by 1.67%, and on revenue they missed by 1.61%. So yeah, that seems to be what has happened here with Pizza. I'm gonna just try to make this a little. There we go. Make it a little clearer. But yeah, we can definitely see some earnings play on the field. Brian says, I have an Asus laptop with a i7-6820 CPU, NVIDIA GeForce 1070 video card with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of system RAM. Windows says I cannot support Win 11. Really? What's going on with Windows? I don't know. Yeah. Let's see here. XDiv, no. And yeah, Rory saying had earnings. Yeah, there we go. See, you guys had already answered it before I answered it. Cowboy, CRA has more people than the combined armed forces. Government's more interested in taxing you than protecting you. Although I think they actually downsized the CRA a little bit. In Wealthsimple, if you click on the green numbers below your total in the top left, it opens a breakdown of your portfolio showing realized returns, dividends by day, week, month, 3, 6 year to date, all time. Nice. I've never looked at that. I may have to dig into Wealthsimple a bit more, Brian. Maybe have to get me pizza tomorrow. Every day is a good day for pizza, Cowboy, for sure. Bring back Windows 98 second edition. Yeah. Oh, back in those days, I didn't even use Windows 98 very much. I was using Windows 2000. I moved, basically the business version. I found it much more stable. Let's see, Amrit, that's great. I did not know that, Brian. I use the app on the phone. Pierre, a bit on a topic. If you are in a job where your salary is $55,000 and you receive an offer from another company for $62,500, good enough to leave your company? That's a complicated question. If you're only thinking about money, then yes. But here's the thing. If you really like your current job and this new job is perhaps a little outside of your comfort zone, maybe it's not a good trade. Yeah, there's a lot of factors, I think, Pierre. There's no way I can't definitively say yes or no for you. But, you know, I would do like I would almost, you know, up here, I would sit down and maybe make a pro and cons list for it. Like, you know, what are the pros? Well, more money is a pro. But is it a better working environment? Do you get more autonomy? Would you like this new job better? Is that 62,500 negotiable? Can you maybe say, look, we're close to doing this, but what about 64? You know, maybe a lot of people, a lot of people will not haggle. And I will tell you right now, haggling, you'd be surprised how much it works. So a lot of times, if somebody gives you a job number, like an offer, they usually have a budget that they can usually go higher than what they're offering you. So it never hurts. Even if you say, look, I think that's a great offer. If it were 64, it would be an immediate yes, you know, something like that. You know, you'd be surprised how many times they're like, okay, yeah, you know what? You're worth 64. Let's do it. So, you know, just putting that out there as well. It's kind of like my mom when she goes to sell something on Facebook Marketplace. So she'll go in there and she'll put something up for $10, and person will say, come by and say, oh man, you know, I like it, but would you take 5? And she always is like, oh, I really wanted the 10, but yeah, okay. And I'm like to my mom, I'm like, you want $10 for it? List it at 15. Then let them beat you down to 10. Don't list it at 10. You have no room, no negotiation. And here's the beautiful thing. If you want 10 for something, you list it at 15, you could run into that person who doesn't haggle and just says, oh, okay, sure, here's your 15, and takes it. So sometimes you end up even more than you wanted. So it's always good to ask a little bit more, you know, because then you've got room to negotiate. And negotiation, it works. It really does. Brian, it's the same on the phone. It goes on Performance Insights page. Just click on your green numbers. Control Alt Delete was such a great time. Oh yes, oh yes. How many people? How many people? Let's see. For a business computer, I might do Linux. Brian says Alt F4 is how you get extra levels and loot on almost video games. Yeah. That will work. Actually, what's really fun is I think there's if I remember, it's been a long time since I've been troubleshooting Windows systems, but I believe there was like a boot file that you used to be able to go into it and change where it would boot to. So I know I had a friend once. I went into his boot file and I set it up so that it would only boot into safe mode. He was troubleshooting it for days until I finally said, oh, you want me to take a look at it? Then I fixed it. But anyway, I'm bad. Rory, I wish Alt F4 actually got me USD loot. Oh, there we go. Babbitt, select start. All right. Mark says, time in the market always beats trying to time the market. Very good quote. Very good quote. It's from it's from either, you know, I don't know if that's a Warren Buffett one or or the other one. It was one of theirs. It was one of theirs. Munger or Buffett. Don't know which one actually said it, but I'm pretty sure one of them did. Is Nike a good start to invest in? Nike. That's interesting. I think that's a Nike, or it's an NLKE. I do like Nike. I mean, actually, Nike's got some really interesting shoe concepts that they're developing. But once again, I think that's going to be more of a dollar cost average one. If you're looking at it for a long haul, I think you'll be fine. Let's see. CC is great during flat markets. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. What happened to Kevin O'Leary? I don't know. I haven't heard anything, but I don't know. Cowboy, even with a good job, people are eating from food banks. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Larry's going to a bar date. All right, have fun, Larry. Have fun. Oh boy. Cowboy, Nutrien is clobbered with industrial carbon tax. Cameco increased their dividend today. Not surprised. Not surprised. Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually, you know what? Let's look and see how well they did, because I've been expecting this to be a pretty good one for Cameco. All right, so let's grab it here. Let's take a look, see if we got the data up yet for Cameco. No, they got nothing in here. They don't even have the E. What's going on? Where's my earnings? Yeah, that's just the last thing they have is that where they teamed up with Brookfield Asset Management. So, but yeah, no, Cameco. Yeah, they're gonna do fine. They're gonna do fine. I love Cameco. All right, CC, apparently the U.S. banks are assessing an emergency fund that was set up as part of the 2008 crash. Government fixes to be a slow relief valve. Yeah, and this is the thing. I have no clue when this shutdown is going to end. Hopefully soon. Hopefully very soon. All right. Paul says QQQ. Hybrid growth portfolio allocations: 81% Tesla, 9.7% Harvest, Tesla CAD, Blocks USD. How do I diversify out of so much Tesla? But it has worked, still converting RRSP to RRIF, TSLA higher balance EOY. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I've watching what you've done to that RRSP of yours over the last year, Paul, has been kind of awesome. You've done really, really well. I mean, you have made a lot of money. You've made a lot of money. A scratch. Did the Carney government announce that they will lose on carbon tax? I haven't really heard too much. On the carbon tax. Yeah. Let's see. I love those charts. And scratch. They said to scrap emissions. Yeah, I heard about the emissions caps. And well, and that's the thing. We'll believe it when it actually happens. We'll see. But they did mention, they at least brought it into it. So I'm happy about that. Let's see. Scratch says, I think we will add way more energy demand in the next years, and that will be a no, and that we will get a bottleneck. Okay. They won't be able to keep up the narrative because they will need this money. Well, that's the thing. I mean, any budget that comes, how often I don't think any government has ever 100% stuck to the budget that they've produced, ever. All right, let's see here. How far behind am I now? 5:30. I'm only 7 minutes behind. I'm almost caught up. Let's see. Oh, but the taxes are imaginary. Yeah, always haggle. First offer is always the lowest. Trust me, I approve them at work. Ask for the moon too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that first offer is always the lowest. Like, and I've told you guys about this. My first time ever in a job negotiation, I went into it. This was many years ago, but they offered me $40,000. That was significantly more than what I was making, and I hesitated and I made a sound. What they didn't know is they couldn't read me. They just couldn't read me. I was overstatic. I was ready to take the 40,000, but the person negotiating with me, he thought I was annoyed at the offer. So he then quickly countered and said, "Look, I'm allowed to go as high as 50,000, but no more." At that point, I was just like, "Okay." I was like, "Yes, that will do." And I was just like, "What the heck?" I came out of that saying, "How the heck did I just turn a $40,000 promotion into a 50,000 one?" It was just, in my case, it was lucky that they couldn't read me. If they could have read what was going on in my mind when they offered the 40,000, they would have I would have been walking out of there with 40,000, and I would have been happy too. But I was happier with 50. That was for sure. All right. Larry says, tell them you want $69,420. Let's see. Looking to do more oil and utility stocks. Yeah, I mean, I think energy is always going to be a reliable, to me, it's a reliable sector, because even in the downtimes, just add more. It always bounces back. We, don't think we're not going to see $100 barrel of oil again. We will. We will sooner, probably sooner than many people think. Roy says, I bought into US energy through ETFs, but not too much. Waiting for CNQ to hit 41. Let's see, oil is so cheap. I don't understand why people would FOMO into expensive tech stocks. You want to catch the big move, right? Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the thing. A lot of times people get caught up in the FOMO. Sometimes it's like, yeah, let's take a look. Like when I'm looking for my swing trades, now, I'm not looking at stocks that are currently doing well. I'm looking for stocks that are kind of sucking at the moment that are about to turn around. And a lot of times, and like I said before, my swing trading, I stick to companies that have really good fundamentals, so I know I'm not going to get burnt if I have to hold out for a while, and I'm okay with that. All right, Cowboy, looking at monthlies like IPO FRU. FRU is, I love FRU. That there is a, they invest in oil and gas and they're royalty. So, actually, let's pull it up. I haven't looked at FRU in a while. So whoops, I'm already up. All right, whoops, let's not go there. Let's go over here. Right, FRU, here we go. Freehold royalties. All right, and I'm going to pull up the 3 years. So you can sort of see they've been on a slide down. They're starting to recover a little bit. But here's the nice thing. This is a company, they've got very little overhead. They're a royalty company. They hold oil and gas royalties. As oil and gas goes up, so will they. But look at this. While you're holding them, you're getting this really nice 7.764% dividend. That's not too shabby. So, 9 cents every single month. So this here is, I think, a fantastic company. And then if you look down here at their description, you'll see here that they're managing oil and gas royalties. So they've got two segments. They got Canada, and they've also got the United States. So there's nothing wrong with this company at all. This is one of my favorite little royalty companies for sure. You know what? I need to do another royalty video. I haven't done one in a long time. All right. Let's see, I should get more IPO. They lag behind. WCP is monthly. All right. Canadian Taxpayer Association said the budget is even worse than a Trudeau budget. The interest payments are higher than the health transfers. And I expected it to be bad, but here's that thing. All of this infrastructure money better be used well. That's what I'm saying. Use it well. Because, we could, it could turn, if we really sunk the money in correctly into our infrastructure, into oil, gas, being able to export the stuff that we're making, getting stuff out of the ground, I think we could turn this around. But if we kind of mismatch and not really use that money effectively, yeah, it's not good in that case for sure. All right, guys. I am going to, and I know I haven't caught up yet, but if you got your last minute questions, get them on in. We're almost at 2 hours. This show's not supposed to go 2 hours, but you guys are fantastic, so I don't mind. Let's see, look at OBE. They are buying back a ton of shares. The asymmetry in the stock is amazing. OBE, let's pull up OBE. Here we go, Obsidian Energy. Here we go, yeah, and this is another, once again, another good energy play. And you're going to see, look, it's going to be, actually this one's this one's more choppy than anything else. But, it's another good stock. Now this one here, I don't think they have a dividend. No, they don't. Okay. So this one here, yeah, it's a interesting looking stock, but I do think, yeah, you're going to see a lot of growth in a lot of these. Roy says, I'm also trying to add EIT. Yeah, Canoe. I love Canoe. Absolutely. Let's see. Here we go. Nutrien is the #1 supplier of potash, and #2 in nitrogen worldwide. They also have China and Brazil as their buyers now. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what I was getting to with that whole China thing. Holy cow, is natural gas recovering well? They are calling for a cold winter, which always helps. ARC and Torlamine should do well this quarter. I agree. Absolutely. All right, guys. Oh boy, yeah, it's we're at the 2 hour mark. We almost got a Friday show. We're still one super short or gifted sub. So if one of you wants to be a hero, I'll have a cup of I'll have a quick sip of my coffee before I go into closing details here. Oh gosh, that is so good. So good. That's all I can say. What do you think of Navitas? I know they have a bad Q3 report, but they have a deal with Nvidia and I think AMD. That's a good question. That's a good question. I will honestly tell you, I've not really looked a lot at them. Let me just take a look here. NAV Navitas. Here we go. So they are a semiconductor. Oh, they're down a little bit today. Well, a lot today. 5.736%. That's a bit of a drop. All right. I want to just I want to go straight to their back end here. Just see what's going on here. All right. This to me is concerning. This one definitely is concerning. 32.05% negative for their for their return on equity. So yeah, that to me scares me. That will absolutely scare me. So I would want to look in deeper and find out what's going on. They don't have a lot of debt. 2% debt to equity ratio. That's great. But I'd want to know what's going on with that return on equity. Is it that they're newer, that they haven't yet hit profitability? Do they have a plan? Does it look like that's going to happen later this year? These are the type of questions I would be asking. So right now, this is not a company I would jump into, but I would certainly look at it, and if you're interested in it, do a little bit more research. Make sure you have some answers to those type of questions. All right, and Paul saves the day. He comes in with a super sticker, meaning we get to see the fourth goat in the corral. So we got a full corral, means that we got a Friday show. That is absolutely fantastic. And oh boy, Scratch also came in with a super. Oh boy, I don't have any goats left, so we're gonna let a beaver come in and keep the corral in order. Here we go. We got a beaver, a Canadian beaver. You could tell from the Canada flag on the armor. And there's our military budget, folks. What can I say? So yes, we will have a show on Friday. I can't wait. It will be awesome. All right, see you then, maybe. Who's the beaver now? That's a good question. That's a good question. All right, let me bring this up. We also have a video coming out on Friday. Channel members will be able to see it tomorrow. As you know, recently we did a video where I introduced some of you may have already know, to those Beta Pro, those really dangerous, high leveraged ETFs. Well, we're going to do it all over again, but with a different company. So if you've not heard of a company called Longpoint, these ones are dangerous. We'll be bringing them to you on Friday or tomorrow if you're a channel member. Until next time, guys, have a fantastic day. You guys all rock. And this was once again another great show. So I'll see you guys then. Until next time, bye-bye.